Hi, Nikki Cottom here, and today I wanted to talk about something a little bit more somber of a topic. I wanted to talk a little bit about um, my beginning journey in doTERRA, and that it wasn't all butterflies and roses. It doTERRA came into my life at a very needful time for me, because at the time, a little bit of background with me was I was finishing up my bachelor's degree and finished and majored in sociology and psychology and really liked what I was doing. In fact, before I graduated, I even had a career where I was working as a juvenile corrections technician. And I was really excited to be a rehab technician, and loved my job, loved my work. And a few months in to my career, I realized I was pregnant with my first, and that was really good news because having babies is just so awesome. But then there was part of me that was a little bit worried because we were barely able to make ends meet with my career. I mean, before that, we were not able to, we were barely scraping by. And then with my career, I was excited because we had money now and we could build up savings. And I had a good job, a good steady job, an exciting job, one that used a lot of my skills and things like that. So I was really excited about this job. And then I was pregnant. And about 6 months into my pregnancy, I didn't feel comfortable being around teens and juveniles that would break out into fights being pregnant. And so I decided, and because I wanted to be a stay at home mom anyway, I decided that I was going to quit my career. Okay. And so I quit my career and several months later graduated from with my degree. And then I at the same time, like 2 weeks after I had my baby, I graduated. So it was like quit my job, finish up school, get my degree, or have a baby, get my degree. And then I was thrown into this world of motherhood that motherhood doesn't come with instructions. What do you do? And being responsible for life. And anyways, it was a really challenging time for me emotionally. It was really rough. And although I wasn't ever diagnosed with postpartum depression, I definitely had very deep moments where I just felt, okay, what am I doing? All I'm doing is changing diapers and trying to keep this baby alive and trying to keep our apartment somewhat clean and that type of thing. So I was in a really kind of like an up and down stage. I love my life. I love being a mom, but I mean, there were moments where I just was barely hanging on, as far as keeping my sanity and that type of thing. But I tried to enjoy the good moments, and what one of the things that frustrated me was that my baby needed a lot of attention. She was born in cold and flu season. She got pretty much everything. She was also low birth weight, or well, birth weight was okay, but she really wasn't gaining. There was a lot of things going on with her. And so we were in and out of the doctors quite a bit and wondering what am I doing? I don't know how to do this. And then 3 months after she was born, I found out I was pregnant with my second. And as exciting as it was to be like, well, we're already having another kid, it was also it was an emotional roller coaster for me. I was trying to nurse because I knew that was healthy for my baby. So I was trying to nurse my baby, and my milk was drying up because of my pregnancy, with my second pregnancy. So I was going through a really rough time. And then when my second was born, my first was having even more issues. And then my second she was having, she didn't pass her hearing test and all this stuff. And so I was just emotionally just drained, and I was in and out of the doctors. My hormones were crazy. I mean, awful. And I remember that was around the time that I seriously was like, I need doTERRA in my life. I had been hearing about it, and I just realized now's the time. Now we need it. We need it. And we were still living off savings at that time, but I decided to make that jump. And I was able to use essential oils to help cope with the little emergencies. Your ear's bothering you again. Let's put some Melaleuca behind it. Or your skin's breaking out again. Let's dilute some lavender and put it on. So I was having those moments of little successes, which brought me so much relief. My kids started sleeping. My daughter stopped throwing up at night because of her dairy allergy. We were able to use a supportive essential oil called lemongrass on her tummy to really just help soothe her tummy so that she wasn't throwing up at night. And it was wonderful to have those tools. And I was coping, and that was good. And then the person who introduced me to doTERRA, she said, you really need to look into getting the doTERRA Lifelong Vitality Pack, the 3-part vitamins. And at that time, I was thinking, I can barely afford my oils, and this is like $80. Like, are you seriously telling me this? Because $80, I mean, for somebody who cannot even go out to eat, can't even go to Jimmy John's more than once every month or other month because of how little we had. And we were eating a lot of, cheap food and not really great healthy food, but we were just hanging on. I mean, we had really very, very little money and almost nothing coming in, with my husband's part-time job making minimum wage as he finished up school. So it was really rough. My friend said, you really should just do it for 1 month and see if you notice a difference. She's like, I really know you should do this. And I trust her because I trusted her with the oils. I trusted her to get me started and had so many little successes. And I'm like, what does vitamins have anything to do with me feeling better about life or just things going well for me? I couldn't figure that out. But she kept pushing it. Every single answer to the issues that I was bringing up was, you really should look into getting the Lifelong Vitality Pack. And I was like, I don't know how this is going to help anything. My hormones are messed up. I'm not getting any sleep with kids. My hormones are a wreck. My mood swings are crazy. My husband doesn't even want to be around me half the time. And so here I was, just in this place of survival mode and not really seeing how the Lifelong Vitality Pack could really help me. Okay. But I was like, okay, you're telling me I should do this, so I'll listen to you just to appease you. And thanks for joining me, Nancy. And I was, so I bought the Vitality Pack. It's $80, okay? And that was breaking my bank, it felt like at the time. And I remember opening the box of the Lifelong Vitality Pack and thinking, okay, this better be some awesome magic thing, vitamin, because if I spent $80 for it, it better be good. This is my mentality. I spend $80 on a lot of other things now that really aren't this great. But back in that time, we really couldn't afford a whole lot. I mean, that was like half a month of groceries. Okay, so I opened it up. It comes in these 3 bottles: the Z Omega, the Alpha Sierras Plus, and the vitamins, the VMZ. So I opened it up and I'm like, okay. So I was looking at all the ingredients, all the vitamins and the whole food proprietary blend and stuff for the gut. And I was like, okay, I'm pretty impressed, like, because I'm not eating anything healthy. So this will probably help give me something. I don't know what my body's supposed to feel like on vitamins. I never felt a difference when I took prenatals. In fact, I didn't even see the point in taking prenatals because I never noticed a difference. And then I looked at the back of the Alpha CRS Plus, the cellular vitality complex. And I started looking at all these things and I'm like, oh, I know that that helps with the gut and that helps with the brain and that helps, you know, clear things up there. And then I started seeing other things in there that I was really excited to see what would happen if I put into my body that are so helpful and I've heard good things about, but never, you know, indulged and got them. And then I looked at the back of the Z Omega and saw, you know, more vitamins in there, EPA, DHA, you know, fish oils and all sorts of other essential oils. Clove I knew was a really good antioxidant. And so I'm like, okay, I probably need some antioxidants in my body. And then I saw frankincense and I'm like, oh, I would love to have frankincense in my body every day. And then, you know, thyme, great for the gut. Cumin, wild orange, great for the mood and the gut. Peppermint, great for inflammation, the gut and the mood. Ginger. And I'm looking at these and I'm like, you know, I'll give it a shot. But I really don't think it's going to be my cure-all, you know, to my problems. But I'll give it a shot. So I started taking them. The Z Omega looks like this. And 2 capsules is a daily dose for in each of these. The Alpha CRS Plus, you know, just little you know, capsules, good medium-sized capsules. And then the bigger capsules, I mean, they're still medium. Oh. See if you can see that, huh? I'll just show it like this. 2 of these, okay? And so they recommend a full dose is to take 2 of each in the morning and night, or however you want to spread them out throughout the day. And I was like, I'm not going to remember if I don't take them in the morning and night. So, so I started doing them. And I'm like, I'm really just going to give this my all. I'm going to take as many as I'm supposed to take because, you know, if I'm skimping along, I won't notice if there's like something amazing that happens when I take the full dose. So I was taking the full dose, which I felt like, Linda, thanks for joining, that I really needed. And anyways, I was taking them, going throughout my regular routine, and wasn't noticing a difference, you know, that first week or whatever. At the end of that first week, my husband came home from, you know, he would go to school, work, and sometimes study at school too. So he came home, he'd come home in the evening, and by the time he came home, I was so done as a parent. How do you handle 2 babies, one in newborn, and just try to keep your sanity together? It was insane. And having all the issues that I was dealing with. So anyways, my husband came home, and I remember when he brought up this conversation, I remember there was a Lovesac in the living room right under our counter because it was a really small apartment. And and I was picking stuff up around the Lovesac, just toys and stuff that shouldn't be on the floor. And so I was picking stuff up, and my husband, he said, okay, so has something changed in the last few days, week? And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, well, you're cleaning up the toys and you have dinner on the stove and you're not yelling at the kids and the kids aren't crying and has something happened? And I was like, no, nothing's happened. And I went about and kept doing what I was doing. And then that night, as I took my vitamins, I realized it's been a week. And I hadn't really noticed a difference with the vitamins, but my husband had. And he, before I would do the vitamins, he would tell me, you know, when I would get super hormonal, he would say, go get your whatever, I don't remember what he called it, but he's like, go get your hormone oil. And that was the Clary Calm blend. And I would put that on and feel a lot better. So he knew that worked. But then he saw how the vitamins were impacting just me on a day-to-day basis. And I don't know when he started noticing. I don't know if it was that moment. He was like, wow, it's been a few days and she's still doing things in the house besides saying, here are the kids, I'm going to my room. And so he noticed that. And so I was taking my vitamins that night, I realized maybe there is something to this. And I ran it by my husband. And my husband said, if these vitamins are really making that much of a difference, $80 is so worth it to have my wife back. Wow. And so I kept taking the vitamins and I kept seeing good results. My skin that was unhealthy started clearing up. My mood swings, during different times of the month, I mean, they would fluctuate for sure, but there weren't manic mood swings like I used to have. And I remember realizing that even though I was being woken up at night, I was still having the energy I needed for the next day. And the sleep I was getting was better quality. And I was feeling better about life. And I stopped looking at the negative about everything. And I started living in a land where if I wanted to do something, I could, because I knew that even if I didn't get any sleep the night before, I would still have the stamina I would need for the next day. And so even though we were living off savings and barely bringing anything in, we cut even more out of our budget to pay for the Lifelong Vitality Pack. And I'm so glad we did, because I don't know how many months later, but I want to say it was within 6 months of starting the Lifelong Vitality Pack. Within 3 months, my hormones felt so much more balanced. I mean, so much more balanced. I actually felt like I could control my emotions, that my emotions weren't getting the best of me, that I wasn't thinking negative thoughts all the time. So within 3 months, I felt just my hormones just level off and balance, which was amazing because I didn't know what that felt like. I never in my whole life knew what hormone balance meant. And then I experienced it. And so I was having better sleep. And I realized my aches and pains weren't bothering me anymore. And my sleep was better even when I didn't get a very good sleep. And I just felt better about life. And I felt like I could commit to things because I knew I would have the energy. Before, it was just like, I don't know what tomorrow will bring. I really don't know. I can't commit to anything. And then I was able to do things that I wanted to do, start doing things I wanted. And it was such a neat experience for me to experience that. And then within a few months after that, tragedy hit. I miscarried my third child. And I was totally devastated. Totally devastated. Never in my whole life had I experienced so much grief. Just this wall of knock me down off my feet. I cannot cope. I can barely open my eyes. I was just so brought down with grief. And when I found out that something was going on with my body, something was wrong with the baby, I stopped doing the vitamins because I was wondering, okay, is the vitamins just too much? Because I'd never taken the vitamins with a pregnancy before. And so I stopped those. And then, throughout the miscarriage, I learned that it wasn't because of the vitamins. It was because the umbilical cord was knotted. But at that time, and when I realized that was the case, I was like, okay, I'm getting back on my vitamins, because I knew vitamins are really good for pregnancy and stuff. But when you're going through a crisis like that, you're like, anything that's not normal, get out of my life. I want to preserve. But once I found that out, I started doing vitamins again. I'm so grateful I did, because with how much grief I waded through and felt like I was drowning through and couldn't cope and barely could make sense of day and night, the vitamins, I still continued to take those. And even though the grieving process was long and it wasn't like the next day I was better, I cannot imagine going through that, being the train wreck I was before. I don't know that I would have had any will to live. And so the vitamins in that regard, I feel like really saved my life because I was doing them. Anyways, I don't mean to get emotional. This is just how I feel. about the vitamins. And so that was my story. And then I was able to overcome that. My body was able to get that support it needed so that I could process, I could grieve, I could make sense of day and night after a while, and really just begin to start thinking about moving on. And so with that, I just being able to see these little miracles, these godsends that came into my life that I call the Lifelong Vitality Pack. Being able to see that, I just feel like nobody should be without them. In fact, there have been times I've looked at the Lifelong Vitality Pack and thought about my friends and just thought, if everybody on the planet had a Lifelong Vitality Pack, how much better everyone would feel, how much more amazing we would be as a civilization, how just everyone would be that much better off. There would be so fewer diagnoses made because people were actually getting what they needed, getting that basic foundation that we lack so much in our diets and our lifestyle. And if all we do is just take 2 pills in the morning and 2 at night of these amazing vitamins, it's like $80 a month. And to have my life go from survival mode, I can hardly make any commitments for the next day because I don't know what tomorrow will bring, to being able to choose my own life, choose what I want, choose what I want to accomplish, and have the energy, the strength, the mental stamina, the endurance, the physical foundation and grounding I need to make that happen. It's just amazing. And so, so one thing I was thinking about what I could do to help us all just be that much better and really get ourselves out of survival mode. I was thinking how amazing it would be if at the beginning of the year or starting tax returns, whenever that is, if we started as a group taking the Lifelong Vitality Pack, the whole thing, 2 in the morning, 2 at night, and just how much better off we would be, how much more exciting moments we would have. That joy would be so much greater, and those hardships would be less difficult to handle. And so I just want to invite you to think about that, to think about, okay, is it really worth it? Is $80 worth it to start getting out of survival mode? To really launch myself out, to do this one thing for myself every month, where even if there's nothing else I do for myself, I take these vitamins and have my life together, have my life back in my hands. I think $80 is totally worth it. In fact, I would pay, knowing what I went through and the miracles they are, I would be willing to pay $200 a month for them. They are incredible. And so I just wanted to bring that up and share that hope, that there is hope. The Lifelong Vitality Pack, it's so simple. You buy it, you remember to take 2 pills in the morning or night of each of them. You move on throughout your day and just wait for the amazing things to happen. Within, 6 months, a year, you might start seeing so many things clear up in your life. And it's not a magic bullet. It's not like, waving a magic wand and all of a sudden you're better, but it works with your body and it nourishes you at the very base level so you can step up. Okay, it gives you that foundation that we're kind of sinking in because we don't have that foundation of health. It kind of gives that to us, helps us move up to the next level. Okay, so that we're no longer just swimming in this swamp of, I don't know what tomorrow will bring, I'm depressed, I can't move on, I'm just stuck. There really are answers. And I love using the vitamins, the Lifelong Vitality Pack. And then in addition to that, using the essential oils on top of that. That just makes it so much better. That just leverages even more wellness because you have what you need. And then on top of that, you're moving up, where if you just use essential oils, you're gradually getting rid of you know, these negative influences. You're raising your vibration, you're getting a little bit more balanced. But then when you stop, you just kind of sink down again, a little bit. But with the vitamins, it gives you that foundation so that when you are ready, you can use those oils to elevate, to get to the next level, to strengthen your mind, your mood, the different areas, because you're already giving your body the foundation. And when you give the body what it needs, it can heal itself. And I do believe that. So, long spiel about the Lifelong Vitality Pack, but I would encourage you, if you have not been doing the Lifelong Vitality Pack, to maybe set a New Year's resolution that if there's nothing else you do, that you do the Lifelong Vitality Pack, and at least give it 3 months. I mean, I would say never stop. I mean, my husband said, you're never getting off of this as long as you live. Because to have my wife, back, to have my children have a mother who's there mentally, physically, emotionally, to have this wife who's capable of doing so much and living her dreams and seeing all this passion, it's worth it. And you are worth it, because you're worth more than $80 a month. Okay? You're worth millions. You're worth an infinite amount. So, I mean, do what it takes. But I encourage you that as soon as you possibly can, join with me and start doing the Lifelong Vitality Pack and see the amazing results you will receive. Thanks so much for listening to me. Feel free to comment what experiences you've noticed taking a Lifelong Vitality Pack. And I love taking it through all stages of life: pregnancy, nursing, in between, going through all stages of life, moving, life changes. It just helps with all those cushions. It just cushions just everything, and it helps just make everything more smooth. They're my favorite prenatal to use, and postnatal, and prenatal, and just all the above. It's my favorite, and I just can't say enough good things about it. It's really been a lifesaver to me, and so I'm so grateful for that wonderful lady, Tammy, who introduced me to the Lifelong Vitality Pack, who nudged me enough that I finally gave in and started doing it so that I could see my worth and I could see the miracles. So thanks so much. Join with me. Let me know if you will. Comment yes below if you're willing to do this with me, and start the year off really great. Anyways, hope you're having a wonderful day. Talk to you later.